For more than 6 decades, Paul McCartney has remained one of the most respected bass players in rock music. Even after 65 years of performing and recording, the former Beatle recently found himself stepping into unfamiliar territory when he joined the Rolling Stones in the studio. Although Mick Jagger and McCartney have shared a long friendship, recording together as members of the same band turned out to be a completely different experience. McCartney appears on Covered in You, one of the standout tracks from the Rolling Stones' 25th studio album, Foreign Tongues. The album also features an impressive lineup of guest musicians, including Robert Smith of The Cure, Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer Chad Smith, Steve Winwood, and Bruno Mars, who contributes cowbell on one of the songs. The project brings together artists from different generations while keeping the classic Rolling Stones sound at its center. Even though Jagger and McCartney have known each other for decades, their musical collaborations have been surprisingly rare. Their most famous recording together dates back to 1967, when McCartney and fellow Beatle John Lennon joined the Rolling Stones on the song We Love You. Since then, the two legendary musicians have crossed paths many times, but had never truly worked together in the studio, with McCartney playing bass for the band.
That changed during the sessions for Foreign Tongues. However, before the recording began, Jagger had one important concern. He wanted the song to have a raw, energetic edge that demanded a very specific style of bass playing. Because McCartney is often associated with melodic and highly creative bass lines, Jagger wondered whether the former Beatle would embrace such a stripped-down approach.
Before McCartney arrived at the studio, Jagger discussed the idea with producer Andy Watt. He explained that the song would move at a fast pace and required heavily overdriven bass with a straightforward performance. Instead of showcasing technical ability or complex arrangements, the track needed power, speed, and attitude. Jagger wanted someone who could lock into the rhythm immediately without overcomplicating the music. Andy Watt had no doubts. He assured Jagger that McCartney was more than capable of delivering exactly what the song required. According to Watt, McCartney possessed the versatility to adapt his playing style to almost any genre or musical situation. The producer proved to be right. When McCartney picked up his bass and started recording, he quickly understood what the band wanted. Within only a few minutes, he laid down the perfect performance. His playing captured the aggressive energy of the song while remaining tight and focused. The recording session moved so smoothly that the bass part was reportedly completed in around 10 minutes. For Jagger, the result confirmed McCartney's remarkable musical instincts. Despite decades of success across countless musical styles, the legendary bassist showed no hesitation in adjusting his approach to fit the Rolling Stones rather than trying to leave his own signature on every measure of the song. The session also continued a creative partnership that had begun during the making of Hackneyed Diamonds, the Rolling Stones' previous studio album released in 2023. McCartney had contributed bass to the explosive track Bite My Head Off, a song that featured an equally energetic and aggressive sound. That earlier collaboration helped establish trust between the musicians and demonstrated how naturally McCartney could fit into the band's recording environment. From McCartney's perspective, returning to record alongside another band brought its own excitement. Although he has enjoyed an enormously successful solo career since the Beatles ended in 1970, joining another legendary rock group for a recording session offered a refreshing change of pace. He described the experience as both enjoyable and inspiring. Instead of leading the session, he simply arrived with his bass, listened to the song, and waited for instructions. That role allowed him to focus entirely on serving the music, without the responsibilities that often come with directing a project. As the recording progressed, McCartney found himself appreciating the rare opportunity to perform alongside one of rock's greatest bands. Even after spending decades creating music with some of history's most influential artists, he still felt the excitement of becoming part of a Rolling Stones recording. The session also gave him a unique chance to observe the band's creative process from inside the studio, rather than from the audience. McCartney watched each member gradually build the song piece by piece. He listened as Keith Richards refined his distinctive guitar phrases through multiple takes. He saw Ronnie Wood shape his guitar solo until every note fit naturally within the track. He also watched Mick Jagger experiment with different vocal ideas before settling on the final performance. Rather than arriving with every detail already completed, the band allowed each part to evolve naturally during the recording process. For McCartney, witnessing that collaborative method offered fresh insight into how the Rolling Stones have maintained their creative chemistry for more than 60 years. Every member contributed ideas while remaining committed to the overall direction of the song. The atmosphere balanced professionalism with spontaneity, allowing the music to develop organically. Foreign Tongues reflects that same collaborative spirit throughout the album. Alongside McCartney's contributions, the record welcomes musicians from different backgrounds who each add their own character without overshadowing the band's identity. The guest appearances expand the album's sound while preserving the unmistakable style that has defined the Rolling Stones across generations. The renewed collaboration between McCartney and the Rolling Stones also reminds fans that the relationships between Britain's greatest rock legends have always been more complex than many headlines suggested. For years, popular culture often portrayed the Beatles and the Rolling Stones as fierce rivals competing for dominance during the 1960s. The comparison became one of the defining stories of British rock, with journalists frequently framing every success by one band as a challenge to the other. Jagger recently reflected on those stories and acknowledged that some competitive spirit certainly existed. Both bands were achieving worldwide success at the same time, making comparisons almost unavoidable. They represented different musical identities and came from different cities, naturally inviting debate among fans and the media. At the same time, Jagger believes the rivalry became larger than reality because it served as an appealing narrative for newspapers and magazines. Stories about competition attracted readers and gave the press an easy way to frame the rapid rise of two extraordinary bands. Geography also played a role. The Beatles came from Liverpool, while the Rolling Stones built their career in London. Jagger compared that dynamic to the friendly rivalry often associated with major cities such as Los Angeles and New York. Different backgrounds encouraged comparisons, but they did not erase the mutual respect that existed between the musicians themselves. History has repeatedly shown that members of both bands admired each other's work and occasionally collaborated, despite the public perception of competition. McCartney's latest appearance on Foreign Tongues continues that tradition, demonstrating that friendship and artistic respect have endured long after the supposed rivalry faded. More than half a century after both groups transformed popular music, McCartney and Jagger continue to create new recordings that capture worldwide attention. Their latest collaboration highlights not only their enduring talent, but also their willingness to explore fresh musical ideas together. Instead of living in the past, both artists continue to embrace new projects, proving that legendary careers can still produce unexpected and exciting moments. The recording sessions for Foreign Tongues stand as another chapter in the long relationship between two of rock music's greatest icons. Jagger's initial uncertainty quickly disappeared once McCartney plugged in his bass and delivered exactly what the song demanded. The performance reinforced McCartney's reputation as one of the most adaptable musicians in modern music and demonstrated why both artists continue to inspire generations of musicians around the world.